What's up guys? Just got back from the thrift store for the first time in a long time. I actually had Brandon from the Patreon group visit me today all the way from San Diego. So glad he was able to visit me, and we actually went to the thrift store. So I wanted to see, can you still resell in 2024 buying stuff at the thrift store? And Brandon asked me a really good question, which is, can somebody still make a good living? And he meant good living as in $100,000 profit or more a year buying stuff from the thrift store. And I'm thinking, you know what? That's a complicated question to answer right now, especially after I just got back. So please make sure you watch all the way to the end of the video. I'm gonna go over the stuff that I found today and what I think it takes in 2024 to actually make a full-time living just thrifting. Okay, so can a normal person make $100,000 reselling? Let's break this down. So it's essentially 15 $20 profit items a day, or 300 bucks. 15 items a day is really no problem. Brandon came here and we listed an item, and it took about 5 or 6 minutes to list an item. That's about 10 an hour. So if you're doing 15 listings a day, that would only take you about 2 hours. But could you find enough stuff in 6 hours of $20 profit items? Now, I'll tell you that we went to the thrift store for an hour. I did not find one $20 profit item. I found one $15 profit item and one like $7 to $10 profit item, and the rest of it was below that. The prices at the thrift store that we went to were so high that it makes me wonder, because of the minimum wage and the cost of rent and electricity, because of inflation, thrift store prices are rarely under $10 an item now. Every single pair of shoes at this thrift store was between $18 and $28. Just normal shirts, there wasn't a single shirt under $10. Everything was so expensive. So there's this law of the universe in the thrift store, the law of the thriftverse, and that's that people don't generally donate stuff over $30. $30 is sort of the cap. So let's say you really know what you're doing, you can find items that sell for close to $30. That would mean that you really need to get the items for $5 or less, and you can only really do that now if you're going to the Goodwill bins, or you're going to the flea market, or maybe you get lucky and you find something on half off day. Now, this shirt is kind of interesting. This shirt was at the thrift for about a month. We'll do some B-roll of a close-up of the tag here. You can't tell what brand it is. For me, looking at thousands or millions of shirts over the years, I could tell what brand this is just from the back of the label and the way this was constructed. However, nobody noticed this Patagonia button-down shirt at the thrift store. My guess, the only Patagonia shirt in the entire store. I wanted to go early because one of my other thrift rules is that if you go first, you get to pick out everything. You get to pick before everybody else, and you want to be able to source before everybody else. That's why you want to go to a garage sale first. So it was really interesting to me because we got there about an hour after they opened, and I was still able to find Patagonia. The tag showed this item was 1 month old, and the advice for me is always look through every single item. And because this tag was flipped upside down, nobody pulled this tag down in 30 days to see that this was Patagonia. So this is actually half off today. This $10 button-down shirt was only $5. I listed it in real time on my Poshmark. My Poshmark is reseller Nirvana. I'm asking $25 for this shirt. Solds are between 19 on the low end and 40 on the high end. So I always like to price my items towards the lower end of what is sold before, because I don't want to wait a long time. So I ended up getting this shirt for $5. I bought at a charity shop that's true nonprofit, so they don't collect sales tax. Really matters because where I live, sales tax is another 10%, which adds up quickly. So I like to source at mom and pop charity shops or local ones rather than Goodwill, Salvation Army, because those ones are more corporate. They have a lot higher expenses and they charge a lot more, and they can get a lot more because way more people go to those stores. These smaller shops, you can get stuff that's great on half off. So this shirt is only about, I would say, if I sell it for $25, it ends up being a $15 profit. And with my experience, this was the best shirt in the entire store. It was pretty picked over. I only found one vintage shirt, and I didn't find anything better than J. Crew or Peter Millar, or there were some cool Tommy Bahama silk pieces, but the condition wasn't that great, so I wouldn't have picked them up. And Brandon found a really cool Tommy Bahama sweatshirt, a hoodie, really cool, all over print, but they were asking $15 for it, and that's too much to be able to make a profit. So the question is, can somebody really make a full-time living reselling, a good living, $100,000? And I think the answer is physically yes, because most people could list 15 items a day, 5 an hour for 3 hours. Most people could do that. 70% of people or more could list 5 items in an hour. A couple of minutes to get an item up, that's not the hard part. The hard part is finding the right item, which Brandon has been studying for 2 years. he brought me 6 items that were pretty decent. These shirts were normal bread and butter shirts that most people sell. However, I would have passed on all of them because the lowest cost one was $10. It was just too much. So physically, yes, someone could resell, especially if I sent you a box of items that were $5 that you could sell for $30 or more. Anybody in America could do that. But I don't know if this is bad news or not. Do I think the average person could sort through enough items that they could find 15 items a day? I'm not sure. That's the part that I'm not sure, because the time that it took me to go through the racks compared to the time it took Brandon to go through the racks is very different. And the time it took me to go through the racks versus someone that does it full time, also completely different, right? People who that's their only job is sourcing, they're going through the whole store in like less than an hour. I would say maybe the biggest challenge is, I remember when I first started thrifting, there's probably about 20 or 30 shirts that I would have purchased. When I was thrifting, maybe 5 years ago, this stuff was about $3 cheaper. Now everything is 10 or more. When I was thrifting, this shirt would be about $7. So it's a little bit of a change since the last time I went. Thrift stores are taxing, they're charging a lot more. But I would have picked up the nice J. Crew shirt in an extra large. I would have picked up the Theory shirt, which is a really good designer brand, not knowing that like it's difficult to sell a plain white Theory shirt because people don't know that it's Theory. I find that big logos, obvious designs, those are the easiest to sell. Plain shirts with no markings make it much, much more difficult. So can the average person do this? I would say yes. Can the average person sort through millions of items to find 15 good ones? I'm actually gonna say no. I feel like it would take a lot of patience to go through the whole store and look up every single brand, and most people would not have the patience to do that. They would just kind of did what I used to do, which is just take a whole bunch of them that are $5 profit. You find a shirt that's $10 and is selling on eBay for 18. There was easily 150 items at the thrift store that sell for between $10 and $20. And I might have just said, you know what? My listing goal is 10. I'm gonna buy 10 of these just so I can get the ball rolling. You walk out of the store, your bank account is $100 poorer, right? Instead of just leaving the store with no items and your bank account is still the same size, right? So I think it's the biggest mistake ever to buy a shirt and not be able to sell it quickly if you have to, right? That's probably the biggest takeaway I have from this is I only picked up 2 brands that I can exit out of right away. I feel like if I discount these 2 shirts to $15, they're gonna sell within a week, and I can essentially make about $10 on a $15 investment, and I can live another day. But if I picked up the J. Crew or the Vineyard Vines or the Tommy Bahama average shirts, if I discount them to $5 plus shipping, I might not sell them. They're just too plain. So what I'm looking for now is sort of items that can sell in 90 days or less. I can more than double my money, so I can buy another item and put money in my savings account. Really, the entire store only had this one Patagonia item for $5 that I can easily sell and get more than $10 back. So hope this is useful, guys, and not depressing, but I just went to the thrift store and prices are insanely high. And I feel like I only got this Patagonia because people were too lazy to flip the label up. Don't be lazy, look through every single item, especially the items that you think people don't want to go through. And then think about in the back of your mind, should you be going to the flea market at 3 in the morning before everybody else? Should you be going to the garage sale at 6 a.m. before everybody else? So you can get the fire deals. We got there an hour late. I saw people walking out of the store with stuff. Who knows? That could have been the really expensive stuff I needed to make my resale business work, and I just missed it by being there an hour after they opened. So hopefully this was useful, guys. Until next time, make progress daily.